All right, everyone. Welcome again to this week's edition of our Sales Club in cooperation with American Business Club Association and 3D Pro Services. This week, we're going to talk in depth about DISC and understanding the importance of diagnosing what other styles and behavioral styles are. And I think after you go through this session, you might also have a little bit understanding about yourself and about what you might be, what style might be natural to your style. So, why is it important to diagnose this? Well, I think everybody, in all the years that I've been training, nobody's argued with this statement. We tend to buy from people we like and we trust, and we tend to like and trust people like ourselves. So the idea is comes originally from the 1932 book "How to Win Friends and Influence People" by Dale Carnegie, of which many of you might have even heard or associated that name with. But he was the first one to actually talk about mirroring, that you should be talking to somebody and that person should be thinking they're looking in a mirror, because we tend to buy from people we like and we trust, and we tend to like people who are like us. So the idea of understanding behavioral styles, how people behave, is what today is going to go. So we're going to learn how to identify the behavioral styles of other people and develop a practical action plan to modify your styles when appropriate. I want to explain to you a little bit about DISC, as far as DISC, because you can learn a lot about what motivates somebody to buy by understanding their behaviorals. But DISC does not analyze an individual personality. Yeah, a lot of people seem to think this is like Myers-Briggs or some of these personality tests. DISC is just saying this is what a behavioral style that is either natural to somebody or not natural to that person. The model doesn't identify people as good or bad or measure intelligence. What it really does is looks at what their behavioral styles are, but doesn't measure knowledge or skills either. And none of the four different styles we're going to go into is better or worse than the other. So I don't want you to look at one of these, well, I'd rather be a D, or I wish I was an I. There are benefits of all of them. But again, this whole theory of DISC is based in theories developed in the earliest 20th century, some behavioral styles, including Dr. Carl Joseph Jung in Germany, originally was the behavioral scientist himself. In the 40s and 50s, as this theory started to be refined, as a matter of fact, some other Swedish professors actually took it. And there are 7 different companies right now, companies that administer some form of a DISC test to identify styles of people. I subscribe to Extended DISC, and the reason I've subscribed to Extended DISC of one of the 7 is this is the one that says behavioral styles can change. Where people think of personalities developed by the time you're 7 years of age and your personality is what it is, it's hardwired and can't change. What Extended DISC says is we think that you can change by understanding what a behavioral style is. Again, it's just I'm not a natural C, and we'll get into the detail of which one is. Just not natural me to be compliant, follow rules, be detail oriented. You're going to see me make some mistakes. You're going to see even this mistake here in my PowerPoints. And to me, I don't care as long as you got the content. I'm not the grammar police kind of thing like that. But doesn't mean the day that I have to be really critical of my performance that I can't be a C. It's just a longer way for me to travel. So there's 4 different styles. D's are very direct, very decisive. One of the things you have to do with a D style person is give them immediate feedback, concentrate on the subject, and don't frustrate their desire to start and get going. And if you start thinking about anybody you know in your world that is D, is a very direct, very decisive, my way or the highway, by God, it better be done my way, that kind of. I have one friend of mine that if I said to him, "Hey, right now it's partly sunny," he'd say, "No, it's partly cloudy." Or that's just not right. Everything's got to be his way and his idea. But that's just natural to style. He's not being mean or rude to me. He's just that way with everybody because that's natural to his style. I style people is very influential, like being with people. The I comes from that influence of other people. The I style person, the person that can influence an Eskimo to buy refrigerators, that old joke. They love being with people. Be responsive and listen to them. Give them some assurances. They are very optimistic. Don't be pessimistic with them. Be with them, him or her, at all time. What I mean is, be connected with them. Don't go off on tangents. Um, Don't set some unnecessary restrictions. Don't put down their enthusiasm. I was just looking at the style. I'm D to an I. My I style is I might say something like, "Boy," or last night I was talking to my wife. Man, that'd be a really cool airplane to buy. They've got this new airplane that is out that is a light sport airplane. Boy, that'd be fun to fly. It's got a lot of power. It can take off in less than 20 feet. And my wife, oh, what do you need that kind of airplane for? You don't need another airplane. And I didn't say I was going to buy one. It's just don't put down my enthusiasm. Now I'm more motivated to go buy one that way. Don't react negatively to those people. S style people. S style people, S stands for security, stability. They are the type of people that will ask you about warranties. They want to know proof of concept. They'll ask you about terms and contracts. Um, Give them organized feedback, give them support materials to look over, let them finish their work, maintain continuity with them, meaning as far as when they start a process with you and they ask you about, well, I'd like to review the warranty. Is this a 2-year warranty? Don't try and switch to some other aspect of your product or presentation. Stay with them in that warranty until they are ready to move on. Don't be restless with them. They're calm. They're less steady. They're a little bit more laid back. Don't make any sudden changes, or work against what you had agreed on, because agreements and principles are hugely important to them. C style people. C stands for compliant. They love detail work. You got to give them a lot of information, be open to their questions, because they really process things. They go by the numbers, they go by the facts and figures and the details. Don't keep any important information yourself. They want to see it. Don't pressure them for immediate answers, because they need to take time to really analyze your presentation, your product. And don't force to use any power with a C. So again, there's D's, and I'll go over the statistics for you. 14% of the US population, the dominant style is a D, 33% I, 23% S, and the rest are Cs. Now, you can be a D to an I to an S to a C to a D to a C. You can have multiple traits in each one of these. What you can't be is 50% D, my way or the highway, and 50% S, calm, laid back, or 50% I, love being with people, love being a pirate, and the C, somebody who just want to stick in their cubicle doing computer work. You can't go and be 50% of the exact opposite. We call those people Sybil, as far as schizophrenic is what we term them. So again, you're usually a blend of at least 2, sometimes 3. Typically, if it's 4, there's one that is still your dominant style. And at this point, I'll interject. I get a lot of people say, well, Wayne, I may be one thing at home, but I'm different at the office. Yeah, but one, you're acting and playing, and the other is your natural style. So I score right in here between a D and an I. But D to I bosses confuse people. Because remember, they're very direct, they're very decisive, but also they want people to like them. So they will sit there and say things like, hey, Boris, I want that report. I had asked you for that report 3 weeks now. I got that report, better be on my desk by 3 o'clock on Friday. And then afterwards, you want to go have drinks? So it confuses you, because they try to be, authoritative, and at the same time, they want to be your best friend. So understand a D to an I boss can be a little bit different. I's and S's are all about peoples and relationships. C's and D's are about facts and figures and statistics and proof of concept kind of thing. So I'll give you an example here. Ellen is the Northwest region for a personality map, which means that his distile is a D to a C. Those people are known as architects, because they design things and they want to put them together right away. These style people are, again, they're very tough, they're very decisive, they're strong-willed, they're competitive and demanding, they're independent and self-centered oftentimes enough. Under pressure, they show a lack of concern. And what I mean by that is, somebody might say, well, Harry just doesn't seem to have a sense of urgency. It's not that he might not have a sense of urgency, he just doesn't like to show it. What I mean by that is, he doesn't want people to know that maybe he's concerned about something. So understand that his lack of concern isn't necessarily true. They fear loss of control. D style people need to feel in control. And what I want to say is like, if you say to a D style person, hey, don't worry, this is a full turnkey operation. You don't have to be involved. I'll take care of it from there. D's will, but no, I want to be involved. The example I might give you, if I say to a sales manager, hey, if you hire me for sales training, you don't have to worry. I'll take care of everything. You don't have to worry about a thing. I'll start this, I'll do that, I'll manage your people. And the D's want to be involved. They want to know what's going on at what time. So again, they're very ambitious, highly motivated. People call them dominant or D style personalities, if you will. But again, personality is hardwired. D style people, if they understand it, can become more of a different style if they want. But again, they look at the big picture. They like D style people, even though they come across as coarse and really tough sometimes, they can make a quick decision. That's the cool thing about D style people. They can make a decision. They're usually leaders. So even though I say 14% of the population in the United States is typically a D, in management in general, presidents of companies are typically more D style people than the rank and file. So with all D style people, they have their limitations though, because sometimes they're so self-centered and independent, they have a hard time focusing on somebody else's or team members' ideas or perspectives. They're fast thinking nature and they want to get things done right away. I'll give you an example of a D style person I was working with last week, a sales manager. We're having a meeting and he says, okay, everybody, we're going to switch to Microsoft Dynamics as our CRM system. And somebody went, well, we just started ACT in a HubSpot. Now we're switching another one. And D's are like, yep, we didn't, you guys didn't enter the data. It must be something you're doing. We're going to keep moving on. D style people can make changes. Interestingly enough, the average D style person has moved 17 times in their life. They are used to moving. So look at it this way. Beth is a very positive regional director. She can communicate and sell her ideas well. She's very ambitious and wants her region to be the best and the largest that it can be. Okay. She tends to create overly optimistic budgets. She's really, her margins are not usually where they should be. She has some unproductive salespeople that she's not fired, and she often procrastinates with other difficult decisions. So take about 5 to 10 seconds here and think about, and I'll give it the answer, but I want you to think about where she might lie on the chart here. All right, those of you that are watching us live or watching the video later, I hope you had some time to think about it. So if you haven't really realized that she's a very positive regional director, communicate. She's ambitious, wants to do well. She gets excited about sales meetings. She fits right between the D and the I. But when she says that she has some few unproductive salespeople, she's not fired yet because she doesn't want to make them match. She wants people to like her. So she falls right in that D to I line, right in the middle. Because if she was a high D, way over here in the red part, if she was a high D, she would be able to make a quick decision and fire people and move on. But again, she's struggling with that. So generally the way you should approach a D style person is, hey, this is your goal. I only need 5 minutes of your time. What do you want and when do you want it to be ready? Hey, here's a problem that you should resolve. This must be ready by. Be really straightforward with a D style person. If you're an I style person and you're dealing with a D, provide some clear limitations. Be less flexible with that. And see, an I style person is, yeah, that's okay. I want you to like them. But a D doesn't need all that flexibility. They want to move forward. Let's get going on this thing. Stay focused, avoid some interruptions, respect her need for independence, and be direct because that's what they want. That's if you're an I dealing with a D style person. If you're an S style person and you're dealing with a D, concentrate on what, when goals. Remember, you're the exact opposite of that person if you're an S. Act faster. What really frustrates a D is an S is, well, I need to sleep on this. We'll think about it. We'll come back. We'll visit this tomorrow. D's hate that. Let's get this done. I was on a call the other day I'm on the housing authority here for the city that I'm in, and we made some bylaw changes, and we did have a quorum, but one person goes, "Well, why don't we wait till everybody's here? There's a few people missing." And I'm a D style person. I go, no, let's get this done. Let's move that. We've had this for 3 months. Everybody's had plenty of time to read this. Has anybody had any problem with the bylaw changes? They could have brought them up for now. That's my D style coming out. Person that I was talking to was an S style person. Well, let's sleep on it. Another week won't bother us. And I'm ready. Let's get going. Let's move on this. So if you're a C style dealing with a D, you're a little bit closer to the D's. Short term goals. Let's be direct, task oriented. Let's really start thinking about being positive and less animated, if you will. Again, D's don't like a lot of fluff. Let's just get down. Use pictures because D style people are usually visual. They need to see things. They have a movie in their mind. Their mouth is usually three frames behind, but they see things visually. I style people. I style people are very social. They're talkative and open. They're enthusiastic. They're energetic. They're persuasive. Under pressure, though, they look disorganized. If you go through your company office and you go through and look at people's desks, the people whose desks are the messiest are typically I style people because it's all about having a good time, partying, that kind of stuff. And, taking time to clean my desk isn't a priority to me. They also fear, though, social rejection. What I mean by that is if a high style person comes up to you and says, "Hey, you want to go out to lunch?" And you say, "No, I got a lot of work to do." You have just rejected them socially. They don't think about the business aspect. So if you really are busy, say to them, "You know what? I appreciate that. I'm not available for lunch, but maybe we can have coffee together later today." So that you're still, staying and doing the work you need to do, but you're not rejecting that person socially. So I want you to think about what they fear is they fear personal rejection is the most. They tend to have such goals that they need to attend victory with flair. It has to be positive and friendships and happy all together. Sometimes their status, though, of authority and prestige is important to them. Because again, remember, prestige is about somebody else's approval. They seek approval and they want to be popular and they like to generate excitement. Um, Again, they need to get a little bit more organized. They need to research facts and figures because remember, the exact opposite of the C's. Resist their personal impulses, speak directly and candidly. Remember, they're afraid of upsetting people. They want everybody to like them. Eyes like people to like them. So they don't sometimes express their opinions and don't speak candidly because they don't want to upset somebody. And they really are shiny object. they get distracted easily. So that's a challenge for those type of people. As far as an I style leader, they like to take new ideas and run with it. They energize teams and build enthusiasms for everybody. They want everybody to work together and have fun as they work on projects together. Again, how you should approach an I style person is, hey, I want to hear your opinion. Could we exchange our views on this? Could we speak about some new alternatives? Could we meet and discuss this? How do you think we should act on this? Remember, see, all your interactions with an I are very close. They'd rather have a meeting with you than a phone call. They'd rather see you face to face. So communicate it in a way that they best accept communications in return. If you're a D, I mean, show a little bit more enthusiasm if you're dealing with an I. Be optimistic. Be open to their opinions. Remember, D wants to push everybody their own opinions on everybody else. Show your ability to adapt. Maybe ask their opinion before you make decisions. If you just make a decision that affects an I style person and you didn't take the time to explain it to them what's going on, they become very resentful and they take it personal. They really take it personal. The decision you made about a company policy or whatever was because you didn't like them personally. If you're an S, speak up and faster. Now you're a little bit closer to them because you're on the same bottom part of the scale here. Speak more, take them here take him and her into consideration and be a little bit more cooperative with them. CS style people are about facts and more about proof of concept, warranties, that kind of stuff. Where an I style person is more about, well, it's a feel. I just think it's worthwhile. It's good. So really just make sure that you're thinking about their style and trying to match their style. If you're a C style person, remember just opposite, the C to an I. Concentrate on who, what, and goals. because that's who they're talking about. I's are about who's going to do it, where the C's are all about what are we going to do. Be open. Don't think that you've got all the facts and figures and statistics on your side, so they should just do it because you've got all the evidence. Don't lose contact with him or her, because remember, they like to be with people. Adapt that kind of team adamant. Let's attitude. Let's do it together. Don't focus on the mistakes. Remember, C style people will focus on mistakes, where the I style person will take it personal if you focus on those mistakes. S-style people. S-style people are calm, they're steady, they're careful, they're patient, they're family oriented. Usually when you walk into the office, and S-style people have pictures of their family, their dogs, they're usually good listeners. Sometimes you think that maybe they're not responding to you. It's because an S-style person takes a lot of time to take in the information that you're providing to them before they feed back to you. They're very modest typically. They're usually trustworthy. Under pressure, though, they're too willing. What I mean by that, if I said to everybody, "Hey, I need somebody to run the company holiday party. Who wants to take the holiday party on as your task?" And nobody raises a hand, the S-style person will go slowly. All right, I'll do it. I got a bunch of them. They're just too willing to please people sometimes. They fear loss of stability and security. That's hugely important to them. And that's where the difference is between them and a D and an I. An I is okay with change, where the S-style people fears change. So the S is reliable and they're dependent. They're very patient. They're good listeners. They want to work with teams harmoniously. They strive for a consensus feel amongst everybody, and they try hard to reconcile any conflicts that might arise in the group. They're the type of people that need to feel good about having relationships with other people. Generally, the way you should approach an S-style person is, well, how should we proceed? We should act like this, first this, then that. Give them an outline basically. How do you think we should do this? I want you to be involved in the planning from the beginning. Remember, security, stability, and planning from the beginning is stability for an S-style person. If you're a D, remember, you're dealing with an S. It's the opposite of you. Focus on how and how much. Provide them with enough time to consider issues from their angle. Be less demanding. Remember, look at both sides of the issue, because the S-style person, I can go into a little bit different, and we start about birth order selling. S-style people are usually middle-born. What I mean by that, they've seen the one side, the older child, and then the younger one, and they're usually the referee. D's are usually firstborns. I's are usually last born, because they're usually the baby of the family. I mean, everybody coddled them and everything was fun for them, because the siblings before them were the trailblazers, if you will. So don't pressure the S's. D-style salespeople will say, well, make a decision. I've given you all the information. Let's just go forward. Let's do it. And you push an S-style person too much, they'll just make no decision at all, or they'll make a negative decision for you. If you're an I, remember, demonstrate the reliability and continuity of the issue. Speak about the negative aspects. Remember, both sides they want to see. Provide enough background information as to why you might be offering this or doing this. Don't expect a lot of fast action from them. Remember, you need to listen, don't interrupt, give them time to think about it. Now, if you're a C, explain things to them step by step, use practical examples, avoid using numbers only. C-style people want to use numbers, where S-style people want to talk it through, but consider all the risk factors. But again, take into consideration their opinions. The last S or C style stands for compliant. They're very precise, they follow rules, they're very logical, they're patient, they're formal, they're under pressure though, they're overly critical of themselves. C-style people expect themselves to be perfect. It's kind of like, oh my God, I can't believe I made that mistake. I screwed up. I should be perfect, is what they think. But what they fear is you criticizing them. See, they will criticize themselves, but don't you criticize them. And the story I use is my accountant. I'm not a C, but I let my accountant do all my work. And a couple of years ago, when they had a special 179 depreciation deduction by having a larger vehicle over like 7,000 pounds, you got a bigger deduction. And I had a Lincoln Navigator at the time, and it just barely qualified. And so I said to my accountant, I said, hey, you missed the 179 deduction. And it's criticism of his work. He spent all this time putting together my return. And he's like, that's a red flag for an audit. We don't want to do that. You don't criticize. It should have been put. Hey, suppose I said I thought we might qualify for the 179 depreciation deduction. Any reason you didn't put that in? That way, I'm not criticizing him, but I'm bringing to his attention that there might have been something he missed. But otherwise, just, hey, you didn't do the 529, then it's too much criticism of their work. So again, this group is precise. They really like to start new, but have a detailed plan before they do. They like to follow rules or regulations. Don't ask them to cut corners. Don't be the type of person that wants to violate rules. Remember, they're precise, they're logical, they follow the rules. How you should approach a S style or a C style person generally. I'd like to provide you with some more information. I'd like to hear your assessment of this. What are the pros and cons of different alternatives? Could you list the key issues? C's have all the evidence behind them. They're great at debate, and they've got all types of facts and figures to support their arguments. If you're a D, answer their questions carefully, give them reasons, respect his or her expertise, and be less demanding or commanding of your, remember that's what D's are, more demanding. Do not make yourself threatening to them. Listen and encourage discussion and offer alternatives. If you're an S style, provide a lot of background information, respect their technical and their expertise. That's what's important to them, that they have the technical knowledge and attitude. They are a little bit more independent because they've done all the research, provide some relevant information for them. But again, it's facts and figures. So I'm going to leave this up here and I want to show you. I went through as a DISC profile 3 weeks in Houston, Texas, and Mercury, the professor was doing the class. About halfway through the class, he said, "Hey, Wayne, I notice you're really not getting this yet completely. Let me give you a story." It's a story that had he done in the first day of class until wait till the third week, I would have got this. But the story is this: he says, "Wayne, there's 4 people in an elevator. The D is the person that's pushing the door, the button, and closing the door on you as you're driving. Hey, hold that elevator." The D is, "Nope, sorry, you're too late." The I style person is holding the doors, but no, 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 the more the merrier. Hey, as long as we're here, let's have a staff meeting. And the person that turns around, looks you in the face, and talks to you, while everybody else is just being an S style person. The S is against the wall, not getting involved, just waiting for the next floor to open up. And the C is doing the math. 1,500-pound limit, 5 people. How much do you weigh? So the D is taking charge. The I wants to have a party. The S is calm and laid back, and the C is running the numbers. And think about that now when you start thinking of styles of people that where they fit if they were going into an elevator. Would they be the person closing the door on you? Would they be the person that just wants to have a conversation? Would they be the person that gets the back row, just listen to the back rack music over the speaker intercom? Or would they be doing the math? That'll help you identify the different styles of people that you know. So it was a good story. Matt's a shy and quiet but very decisive regional director. He values a polite and fair boss. He is successful, but does not like to sell his own ideas and thoughts. He's happiest when he can manage his own region on his own. Although he does need support with change, Matt enjoys the challenges his job provides. So if you think about it, he's shy and quiet, but very decisive. So right there, that gives you that he's really going to confuse people because he's an S style with D tendencies. He's successful, but he didn't like to sell his own ideas, where an I style person would do that. So he doesn't have any I in him. So if you look at something like that, he's probably an S, a little bit of C, some D. It helps give you an idea on where he finally fits in that chart. Mary's a successful doctor. She's precise, patient, logical. See, that tells you she's C right there. She's good with details and can communicate them clearly and exactly. She avoids people in conflict situations, therefore does not state her opinion. She functions well in small groups or alone. She's advancing well in her career, is making it among the top experts in her field. She's probably a high C, maybe even a little bit of S because she's logical. So she probably scores right in here between that C score. Jake's a physical therapist. He's good with his hands. He likes his job. He develops his professional skills by attending seminars. He's organized, sensitive, emotional, focusing on taking care of details. Jake's a family oriented and spent a lot of time with his parents. He's somewhat inflexible, does not like to take risks or changes. So right there, it starts talking about family oriented. He's organized. So if you think organized, he's not an I. I's typically aren't organized. So he's kind of an S over here is his style. So I hope that starts giving you an idea on how to understand people. Now, understanding your own style. So on this chart, I want you to think about it this way. D's look for results and change right away. As you come down the chart and you start to go from a D to an I, a little bit more influence and like some activity. High S is all about people and being very positive. An S to an I is helpful and friendly. High S's are thoughtful and patient. Now we start moving into standards and precision. Now we get facts and figures. So this kind of figures out where you are in the chart, thinking about, well, what's really important to you. Now you might have a little bit of everyone, and if you do have some traits in all, good for you. But typically there's ones that stand out more than others. So again, D's talk about oneself, hard values, results, change. I's talk about people, team spirit, good things, future. S's talk about agreements, principles, paths, proofs. C's talk about facts, analysis, details, rules, interactions, and instructions with other people. This is one of my favorite slides. I call this my Nike slides. D's are, well, just do it now. D's to I's, well, let you and let's do it. Then a high I is, well, let's do it happily. And then an S to an I is, well, yeah, but let's do it together. Kumbaya. Let's do it as we agreed. Well, let's do it how it should be. And if it's worth doing right, it's worth doing right the first time. But a D to a C is just do it. Or the DC also says, don't care. I don't care how you do it, just do it. So start thinking about where you start to fit on this chart, because how you fit in your own style, be comfortable with it, but just understand maybe you'll interact. I's do well with other I's, S's do well with C's do well with other C's. The only one that doesn't do well with other people, D's don't play well with other D's. It's like both want to be king of the sandhill kind of thing. So be careful if you're a D and you're dealing with other D style people. D's are, what are we going to do? I's are, yeah, but who's going to do it? S's are, yeah, but how are we going to go about doing it? And thus the C's are, yeah, but why are we doing it? So I think this is really important to understand, that if you would diagnose somebody that you're dealing with in each one of these categories, remember these four things. That if I'm dealing with a D, they want to know, what are we doing? What are we selling me? What, and then I's are, yeah, but who am I going to work with in the future? Let's say, you're my sales guy now, but now you're going to turn me over to customer service. Who's that going to be? Remember, they built a bond. The I's buy from people. They bought from you. They want to know what the next step is. And if you don't tell them and they buy and you get the signed contract, and next thing you know, you turn it over to customer care and they didn't know this person was going to call them, they really take it personal, because they thought, well, hey, what happened to the best friend I just built a relationship with? So make sure you talk about the who's. S's want to talk about how you're going to go do about, how are you going to put this product together? How are you going to send it to me? And then the C's are, yeah, but why did you recommend that one? Why did you recommend the Wolverine 2.0? Even though in your mind, it was a better product, why are you doing that? So make sure you think about diagnosing the style of person. When we talk about my step-up system of selling, size up the situation. S, T, take them to their pain. E, extend the pain in the future. P, propose a solution. The size up the situation part is what we're doing here. Who is this person? Visual, auditory, and kinesthetic. What is their disc profile? So that I can present my product or service in the best way that they would receive it. Salespeople spend a lot of time on how to close, prospecting, and they just don't seem to spend enough time on the people skills, understanding who this person is. Even though every person will tell me, well, I made the sale because the person liked me. Well, what if they aren't in the same category as you? Would they not like you? You need to be the chameleon. You need to be the person to be able to understand these different profiles so that you can move laterally into one or the other. So that if you're an S-style salesperson, understand a D can make a decision. As an S-style person, you don't need to say to a D, hey, why don't you think it over? And no read to Russia, call me tomorrow if it's interesting. No, if a D says, no, I'm ready to go, okay, move forward with it. Same thing with the D though, S want to think it over. Let them think it over, but have a clear agenda as to when you're going to come back together. Make sure that you're talking to these people about who, what, where, when, why, how kind of thing. So again, you need to adjust your styles when leading others. The concept is here, you need to think about, what is the behavioral style that this person is generating, reflecting, demonstrating, and how can I best work with their behavioral style? I'm not going to change them. It's easier for you to change. So that's the presentation for today. For those of you online, if you want to unmute yourself, any questions or comments that anybody has or wants to say, or anybody wants to say, hey, Wayne, what's my style? Anything like that from anybody? All right. If there isn't any, Tim, if anything you want to say, or Boris, anything you want to add for you guys? There's a couple people behind me here, but you guys got anything? No? All right, we'll end this session. It'll be posted on my YouTube channel. So go YouTube/Wayne, WAYNEDEHN, and you'll be able to watch this again if you didn't get a chance to take notes. But otherwise, I appreciate you. Thank you very much for attending, and call me if you have any questions.